It's funny how I feel into your arms, thinking I'm overzealous. When I'm down, I get real down. When I'm high, I don't come down. I get angry, baby, believe me.
Love it, I love it, and live it up, don't let nobody bring.
Alright, so we are starting off with some activation exercises for the glutes before we begin. I have mentioned this a few times within several other of my fitness videos, and I talk about how important it is to warm up, do some activation drills, mobility drills, or dynamic movements to prep your joints and muscles before you work out. Here I am just coming on to my hands and knees, my shoulders are on top of my wrist, and my hips are on top of my knees, and I'm just performing kickbacks. So here I just have the band about halfway between my knee and my ankle, and I'm just performing some more glute kickbacks using the band for resistance throughout the entire time. Then I like to just do side-to-side walks, and this is just going to really warm up my glutes, and especially the outer glutes, which are also known as your abductors. And then I just like to do a couple side-to-side squats, walking, and once again just prepping the glutes, prepping my abductors, and really getting nice and warm. You're also really warming up your quads and your hamstrings, basically an overall great exercise, body weight squats using the resistance band to prep your entire lower body. And then here I am doing glute bridges with the resistance band. This is just really warming up my glutes and my hamstrings, the back of my legs. And then you can also do single leg to really activate each glute individually. Alright guys, so the first exercise is going to be squats. Now, I'm sure that you've heard people cueing a squat, mentioning, keep your chest up, place your feet facing straight forward. Now, although this is correct, some people just can't do this, including myself. I actually don't have the greatest mobility, so you may find it actually impossible to maintain that extended spine near the bottom of your squat if you have poor flexibility in certain areas, such as like your hips and your ankles. So by taking your feet out a little bit wider and just turning them out a little bit, you're going to have a lot more freedom in your hips, and you're going to be able to keep that extended spine. So basically, not everyone's going to be squatting the same. It's a good idea to test your mobility before doing any type of compound movement, and testing for mobility before performing any type of movement is great, because if there is any tight or limited ranges of motions, then you can work on that to strengthen that area first, and then move on to, the heavier compound exercises. So the second exercise we're going to do is pulsing squats. You're coming down into your squat, you're pulsing for 3, and then you're standing back up. This is great because there's so much of the eccentric, like the lowering part of the squat, that you are definitely going to be sore. Then we're moving on to straight leg deadlifts. Now, I like having both of my palms facing forward. I just recently started using this grip, and I've really been enjoying it. So I think about pushing my inner thighs towards the back wall, slight bend in my legs, and maintaining a neutral spine. Alright, next up we're going to move on to lunges. So here I haven't done pulsing lunges with the barbell before, actually. So I just started with just the bar to test how challenging it was for myself. And then from there, I went on to adding some weight. So this is a great way for a beginner or someone who is new to the gym and not exactly sure what weight to use. Just start with the bar, or just start with a very light weight, and then slowly make your way up. So here I just added 5 pounds on each side, and I am doing pulsing lunges. I do 15 pulses on the right side, And then I'm moving on to 15 pulses on the left side. So at the beginning of my workout, I really focused on getting through my compound exercises. They are very taxing on your nervous system and they work larger muscle groups. So if you want to do compound exercises, try to do them first in your workout and then you can move on to more isolated exercises. Alright, so the next 4 exercises are going to be back to back without any rest. So it is like a mini circuit. The first one we're doing is walking squats using the cable. Now there is going to be constant tension placed on your muscles. So this is why I really like this exercise. Although it looks pretty funny, it definitely targets your quads and your glutes. Now we're moving on to a cable straight leg deadlift. This is a hip dominant exercise. So focus on bringing your hips towards the back wall and then bring them forward as you stand up. The third exercise is pulsing curtsey lunges. So you're bringing your foot towards the back corner, you're pulsing for 2, and you're coming back up. I did 8 on the right and 8 on the left. The first set that I'm doing right here, I used only 12 pounds, and then the second time I went up to 15 pounds, and then the third time I went up to 20 pounds. I started off with only using 12-pound dumbbells because the next exercise is very challenging. We're going to be doing a jump squat with the dumbbells. Only 8 reps. I want you to think about exploding all the way up and landing softly on the way down. You're going to repeat that entire circuit for another 2 times for a total of 3 times. Like I mentioned for the curtsey lunges, I went higher in weight with every single circuit. Alright guys, we're moving on to barbell lunges, but this time we're doing kind of a different lunge. You're going to be focusing on your front quad, so you want to straighten out your back leg and place all the emphasis on that front leg quad. So you're going to do lunges towards one way and back. That is 1 set, and you're going to repeat that 2 times. Alright guys, the last exercise is going to be a glute isolation exercise. So here I'm using the bench and the cables. Now this exercise is a little bit awkward and it is kind of requiring a little bit of coordination. I like using the bench just because I really do feel it in my glutes. Sometimes when I stand up, I find that I get a little bit of a lower back pain. So today I used the bench and I really enjoyed it. Some key things to remember is to externally rotate your foot just a little bit. So just point your toes outwards just a little bit. This is going to place more emphasis on your glutes rather than your erector spinae, which is your lower back. Now I chose to use a bit of a lighter weight here, and I really focused on squeezing my glute, making the muscle to mind connection, so I did 15 reps on each side. Alright guys, so the workout is complete. Now I'm going to take you through a little bit of foam rolling and my stretching routine, something that I do on my leg days. Now my stretching routine is usually always different depending on how much time I have and depending on what muscles are sore, but I just decided to put you through today's stretching routine. So after I have foam rolled, I'm just going to stretch out my hip flexors. I like coming into a lunge position. You want to make sure that you're lunging forward into your front leg, and you should be feeling it in your right hip flexor. Then I push back, stretch out my hamstrings, really focus on flexing my toes up towards the ceiling, and just having my hands on the outside of my leg just allows for a deeper stretch. Then I like to open up my hips. As you guys know, I do have pretty tight hip flexors. And then I'm going to be doing some hamstring work here. When I go to one side, I bend the opposite leg, and that just allows me to stretch my inner thighs and get a greater hamstring stretch. Alright, and then coming back into that lunge position, you're going to bend your back leg, and this is one of my favorite quad stretches. It is killer, but it is a definitely effective stretch. So if you can't grab your foot, you can always grab a band and hold on to the band, and then make your way slowly to reaching towards your foot. Then we're going to come into pigeon. This is one of my favorite glute stretches. So you just lie down, try to get your foot and your leg parallel. And if you don't like that stretch, this is another glute stretch, just crossing one leg over the other. Then I'd repeat it on to the other side. And I know this video is sped up, but I hold the stretches for typically 30 to 90 seconds. Alright guys, so that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video.